Hello, welcome back to Life Enrichment with Hank Ballinger. Today, we want to talk about never give a man a fish. That seems to be an odd title. You'll get the idea here in just a minute. Before we get into that, I'd like to say again, thank you for those who watch our channel. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate those who watch all the way to the end. If you can, hit that like button, share it with those that you know and like and want to see do well in life, those who you think maybe they could set a goal, they just need some encouragement, just show them, share it with them, and help them to share it with others. So we do really appreciate it. Never give a man a fish. Well, that seems like an odd title, but you have probably all heard the proverb before. If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Very important idea. Okay, that concept is really important in life. Now, it's interesting that all of us, when we are kids, if we're learning to walk and we fall down, you know what our parents don't do? Is they don't start walking for us and just start carrying us all over the place. Probably a few reasons for that. One, they would get way too tired and they're probably at the end of the day, they're tired, they don't feel like carrying us. But another thing is they realize that if they carry us, we'll never learn to walk. You have got to let the kid fall some. Generally, they're fine. They get right back up. Just like learning to ride a bike. What does everybody say? When you fall off, get right back on it and take off again. And most kids do. I've got 3 grandkids. They have wrecked bikes. And you know what they do? They get right back on them and they take off again. You don't do things for somebody. You encourage them and teach them how to do. Never, ever give somebody something for nothing. In essence, never give someone something and not expect something in return for that. You destroy them. You hurt them. So, if you give someone something for nothing, you do destroy them. Now, we're going to talk about that a little bit more down here, but let's look at this on a political basis, okay? What do politicians generally say? I'm going to get you this. Maybe it's free health care. You want to talk about that? Call Canada. They will tell you about free health care and how bad free health care is. You think it's bad here? Wait till you go to Canada and get it for free. If you get free health care, you get what you pay for. Okay? Here, we've got it pretty good. So, here's the way it generally works on a political basis. The politician says this. The politician says, if you will give us your vote, we will give you free stuff. And the voter says, if you will give us free stuff, we will give you our vote. And that's called a doom loop. Around and around it goes. And the politician runs on the idea, I'm going to give you free stuff. Sometimes they come through and sometimes they don't. Many times they don't, but they say they're going to give free stuff and the voters run out and vote for them because he's going to give us this or he's going to give us that. Many times they don't do what they promise to do. But if they make the promise, many times we say, if you make that promise and you're going to give us more than the other guy, then you will get our vote. Now, today, in the last several years, with what's called quantitative easing, and if you study macroeconomics, quantitative easing is when the Federal Reserve prints money, and then through a process, they have to give that money to the federal government. Then the federal government puts that money out into the real economy. That's you and me and Walmart and the gas stations. That's out in the real economy. There's 2 economies, the financial economy, the real economy. When the Federal Reserve prints that money, they give it to the federal government puts it out into the real economy. And generally, if you put out a bunch of money and we have the same size pool of goods and services, that encourages inflation. But the politician, he's not worried about inflation. He don't want you to worry about inflation. All he wants you to think about is, I'm giving you free stuff. If you will accept this free stuff, I'm going to put out this money. If you will take that money, I will give it to you freely. All I want is your vote. You get me in this time, and if you get me in this time, the next time when I'm running, I will offer you more, and all you have to do is keep giving me that sacred vote. And around it goes. Now, if that politician offered you $1,000, well, in order for the next politician to get your vote, he's probably going to have to offer more than $1,000, isn't he? You're not going to vote for him if he doesn't offer you any more than the previous one did. He's going to have to go $1,050, maybe $1,100, maybe $1,500, maybe $2,000, maybe double it. But he's going to have to go more. And then the next one is going to have to go more. And where does that end? It doesn't. And generally, here's what happens. If we give free housing, and I say we meaning the government, if the government gives free housing, then free food, then additional spending, then insurance, then cell phones, then. Where does that end? And the problem with that is they now have total control of your life. Perhaps you've heard the story. It's a kid's story. If you give a mouse a cookie, the story goes something like this. And it's been many years. It's been years since I've read that story, so it's been a lot of years. But the idea is, if you give a mouse a cookie, well, that's a little dry, so he's going to need a glass of milk. If you give him a glass of milk, it's going to get a milk mustache, so now he's going to need a napkin. So you give him a napkin, you see where this is going. Every time you give him something, he needs something more. And there is no end. But eventually, with all this giving of this mouse, you eventually give him a glass of milk, and then because he has a glass of milk, now he needs a cookie, which is the very thing that started the whole thing. The idea is still here. The idea is the politicians give and give and give, and then some people take that. I'm not saying some people don't need it. I'm not saying some people don't deserve it. What I'm saying is I think we probably have a lot that really shouldn't take it. Because of this, once they take all of this free stuff, they have no control of their life. Let me show you what I'm talking about. The government gives you housing. You've got to stay in that housing. You cannot better yourself. You have to stay in that housing. They give you free money. That's all the money you have. That's it. They give you maybe a card to buy food. That's all the food you have. They give you insurance. That's the type of insurance it is. And if they ever decide to lessen any or all of that, you have less and you have no control over that. You have to take what they're throwing out. That's it. They control you. Don't know about you, but I don't want to be controlled any more than I absolutely have to. You want to be in control of your life. Now, if you're going to become redneck rich, maybe you don't want to be. If you don't, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But if you do want to be redneck rich, you cannot be beholden to someone else giving you all that stuff if you're going to try to control your life and you're going to try to make more and more. You have to control your own life. Now, here at Life Enrichment, we do not want to give a man a fish. We want to teach all people to fish. We don't want to give them stuff. We want to teach them how to fish for themselves. Okay, we want them to learn how to control their lives. Now, I make it a point not to give money or anything. I don't give somebody something for nothing, ever, ever. Okay, if someone wanted to borrow money, they would have to do something for that money, or they would have to pay it back with interest. You can't give them something for nothing. Now, there are exceptions to all rules, okay? There are exceptions to that rule. If someone is working, they're doing all they can, and maybe they fall on hard times. Maybe their house burns down. Something of that nature, yes, I will help them and expect nothing in return. Or some other reason, maybe they lose their job and they need help over that rough time, and I see they're doing everything they can, they just can't make it. Yes, I will help that person. But I do not give something for nothing. Okay, and many times I will tell people, okay, if I give you this, here's what you have to do. You have got to start learning how to become redneck rich. If I give you something, I may not expect it back, but you have to learn how to control your life more. You're going to have to think harder, work harder, and you can do it. And who am I hurting? I'm not hurting them. I'm enriching their life. And again, that's the idea of our channel. We want to enrich people's lives, but we can't do it if we give them fish. The way we do that is we teach them to fish. Now, as we said a while ago, that's the idea. We would like your help. If you can hit the like buttons, share, subscribe, also teach others. If nothing else, teach them about the channel, tell them to watch, tell them to share it with others. Also, anything that you can do, and there are thousands, probably millions of podcasts on teaching macroeconomics, geopolitics, just ways to buy real estate, ways you can control your life. Some of the very same lessons I'm teaching here, you can get online on YouTube and many other medias and find out how to buy real estate, how to set goals, how to achieve those goals, how to be motivated. Tony Robbins and a lot of other motivational speakers. These people want to help you. Now, the easiest thing in the world for you to do while you're sitting around, instead of watching TV, pull out your cell phone, watch a podcast, motivational speaker, maybe something on macroeconomics. Teach yourself about the monetary system. Teach yourself about how to control your life, not be controlled by others. You can do this. You can become redneck rich. You can do it. See you on the next video.